Hello, today is Monday, December 28th, 2020. My name is Daniel Mullaney, and behind the camera we have Caitlin Yates. We are here filming a video source inspection for Cytec Process Solutions. Today we are viewing a fully refurbished HTC 8010 box washer. This system is shipping to our customer located here in California, and their PO number is 038711. This system is an HTC 8010 box washer, and it is designed for cleaning boxes, cassettes, and any other semiconductor products that you have. In this circumstance, our customer will be cleaning 300mm FOUPs, 3-inch coin carriers, 8-inch single wafer clamshells, and 300mm single wafer carriers. So we're going to be washing a variety of different parts in here with different racks, and we'll show a few of those today. As part of our refurbishment, we provided a brand new power supply or high power voltage box here. This box was manufactured by Cytec, and on the inside we have all brand new components for the contactors, wiring, and everything else. So that's a new product that's included with this refurbishment. Next, I'm going to open up the bottom chassis of the tool. Under here is the guts of the system. We have a couple Magna Helix. We have a variety of sensors here for detecting exhaust pull or a leak in the system. Underneath this chamber right here, we have an air heater for the forced air blower. We have an air heater, a pre-filter, and a HEPA filter that's going to filter out the majority of the air that pushes through the chamber for the drying effect. Here we have a wash pump that was rebuilt. Here we have our forced air blower that was rebuilt. And under here I also see a variety of other tubing associated with our drain, our wash arms, and otherwise that have all been cleaned out or replaced as necessary. So everything in here looks great too. The finish of the metal and everything has been cleaned by our team members here, and looks fantastic. Okay. And now it's a little difficult for us to get our camera back here, so I'm just going to walk behind the system here and tell you what we have. We have a DI water filter. We have a DI heating column. This column has a heating element that does the heating of the DI water that will be up to 65 or 75 C, depending on your process set point. I see a whole variety of tubing that's used for the solenoid valves to feed air to the Bimba cylinders. All of that tubing and connectors have been replaced. So the Bimba cylinders back here. We also have a surfactant pump and a surfactant reservoir. The surfactant pump is rebuilt, and the surfactant reservoir is used to hold your surfactant that will spike at the beginning of all the different process runs. We also have our main exhaust plenum back here. The exhaust plenum normally has a house exhaust that's going to have constant pull on it in the fab. And in this circumstance, we don't have that kind of facility available for this, so we have a couple blowers that we use to mimic the exhaust pull that's required for drying process runs. Those are located down here beneath my feet, or to the side of my feet, and we're going to turn them on at the end of the wash cycle before the dry cycle because they're a little bit loud, and they're required to meet the exhaust spec, but we're not going to turn them on until that point so we can avoid that noise. I can see the drain over here is hooked up properly. So everything about this system looks great from the chassis area. Here we have the pretty straightforward control panel of the system. We have our DI set point of 65 C. We have our wash time of 60 seconds. We have our drying temp, which is set but not showing right now because the air is ambient in the near the thermocouple, so it's only showing 23 C, but we'll see that heat up later. We have our dry time of 45 minutes. Here we'll tell which step of the process we're in, whether we're in wash, which is going to be using DI water and surfactant, rinse, which is only DI water, or dry, which is using the CDA or N2 air knives along with the forced air blower. We also have alarms for low water, low surfactant, or a water leak. Here's a reset button for the system. Here's a dry only start button. here's a normal cycle start button, and here's an online indicator. So pretty straightforward control panel here. I'm now opening up the chamber to inspect inside. The chamber looks good on the inside. All the metal's been cleaned down and looks great in here. I'm pulling out one of our process racks here. Here we have a process rack. This is one of our customers' actual products for 8-inch wafers. So they'll have more of these specifically in the rack when they run this on their site, but we had other products here that were also drying in here just to imitate process, but this will be the item that'll be used in the field. We also have a rack here now for our 300 millimeter single wafers, single wafer carriers. So here's a base and here's a lid. You can see that they're centered in the center of the chamber, and you can stack a few of these in here for every process run. I see inside the chamber that we have a variety of refurbished and new parts. All of these parts were addressed during the rebuild. We have some new Delrin and otherwise pieces for either door seal pieces or the rotating spray arms, or these railings to slide in. And I also see some new pieces that would be used in case the older pieces were not up to our standard, they weren't warrantyable, or they had any kind of contamination issue. And so we'll swap those out as new as well. Specifically, I see some for the rear rotating air knife seal assemblies. So those are important to take good attention to, because we'll have a rotating part here that's going to have access to DI water and then the rear chassis. So you have a nice seal in between those two items. Doing a quick manual turn. These guys look good. These are the DI spray assemblies. Look great on both sides, spinning well. Taking a look at the air plenum exhaust area, that's been cleaned out as well. So everything on the system looks great. I'm going to go ahead and get the process started. So, starting a box washer process cycle is as easy as hitting cycle start. Great. So, what is happening now? Now we are doing our wash step. During our wash step, there's a reservoir in the back of the process chamber, and that reservoir is going to fill with DI water as well as a small surfactant spike. Usually the surfactant pump will be on for maybe 3, 5, or 5 seconds. That surfactant is then going to mix with the DI water, and it's going to create a solution that will then wash the entire chamber through the wash pump that I pointed out earlier that's underneath here in the system chassis. So I'm going to take a step back to the back. Unfortunately, this model doesn't have any windows or anything, so you can't really see what's happening in the chamber. It makes for a less exciting video, but at least it's still operating as it's supposed to inside the chamber, which is what really matters. I'm now back here in the back of the tool looking to see if it's filling properly, and I do see some DI flow. I can hear it flowing as well. Okay, so now we shot into our first wash step, and actually the only wash step. It's a wash step because it has the surfactant spike. So now the surfactant spiked water is washing through the box washer chamber, and that's going to be for an effective clean. Now, the water temp on here has dropped down to about 50 C now. It's 49, 50 C. That's expected because what happens is that you have your water set point at 65 C, and then as that drains into the rear reservoir, it's going to backfill with house DI water. So that house DI water that's filling into the heating column is now going to cool the total DI set point down, but as you can see, it continually heats back up for each process step. So right now we have about probably 62, 63 degrees Celsius water that's mixed with surfactant that's doing the actual effective cleaning of the product that's inside the chamber. So a blinking light means we're at the draining part of this step. So this is currently draining. I'm now here in the back of the tool, taking a look at the drain. Everything looks good with it. It's essentially just the waste DI water that's flowing out into our house drain. The flow rate looks proper, and everything looks correct with this process run so far. So there's a float switch inside the rear reservoir that determines when to stop filling with DI water and when the draining step is complete. So essentially that float switch is now falling down and the system's looking for it. There we go. It is now hit and we're going into rinse. So now we're going to have a few rinse steps that are going to be the same as the wash step, except for there's going to be no surfactant spike. So the objective here is that we're going to have the surfactant lingering in the chamber still, and now the rinse step of just DI water will continually wash through and make sure that all of that surfactant that does linger after the first wash step is washed out. It's a really similar process to a dishwasher in the end, where you're going to first wash the soap around everywhere, and then you're going to rinse several times to ensure there's no soap left on your dishes. Same thing here. You don't want any surfactant left on your process cassettes, boats, single wafer shippers, or anything else you want to run in this tool. So the next few steps are boring, because we are really just going to see this system make noise while it's doing the actual rinsing. Lights are going to flash a little bit, but we can't really see much of what's going on in the chamber because there's no visibility to it. So one other thing that I can inspect is just the door seal itself right now. And taking a look around, I do not see any leaks, so everything looks great with that door seal assembly. So as we do these last few rinse steps, I'll take a moment to talk about some of the other products that Cytec sells. So in this circumstance, we sold a box washer that was from our inventory, refurbished with a 6-month warranty. We also offer refurbishment services for our customers' existing box washers. If you have a system like this that you'd like to send in, we will refurbish it by replacing many of the parts, rebuilding others, and ensuring proper OEM functionality, and then return it to you with a 6-month warranty. So that's a service that we offer for these tools. We also offer 100% of the spare parts or other minor services that you may need. So if you have a solenoid valve that goes bad, or you need a replacement door seal or a spray arm, any item on this tool we can provide as a spare part for you. And we can also provide some services, such as if you need your wash pump rebuilt, send us your wash pump, we'll rebuild it, ship it back to you. And that's just one example of a basic service for this tool. So as you can see here from this light, we're now in this rinse step again. So really we're just doing the same thing, which is fill the rear reservoir and cycle the water through again. So in addition to providing services and refurbishments for box washers, Cytec also specializes in the spare parts, services, and refurbishments of spin rinse dryers. So spin rinse drying is the tool set that this company was built off of. We've refurbished over 2,500 spin rinse dryers in our 20-year time period. We perform more and more every single year. And we specialize in the semi-tool and vertex spin rinse dryers. So if you are in need of a spin rinse dryer, we can provide it to you from our stock. We sell it with the configuration capability to run 8-inch, 6-inch, 5-inch, 4-inch, 2-inch, 12-inch even. Any size and configuration that you have a need for, we can run it in our SRDs. Even if you have some custom cassettes that are of a weird shape and size, we can build the what we call the rotor, the metal basket that's required for that, in order to run it in any of our systems. And just like the box washer, in addition to providing the refurbished equipment, we also provide all 100% of the spare parts and services needed for those tools. So that would be everything from your motors, seals, windows, tack sensors, valves, anything like that we can replace. And we also have all the services you need, such as rotor balancing, controller repairs, motor repairs, amp repairs, or anything else you might need. So I believe we still have one more rinse step, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn on our exhaust now to make sure that our exhaust switch is met when the system turns over into dry. So that's the noise that you're now hearing right there. And I think we still have one more rinse step. I should have been looking a little closer here, but it may kick into dry here if not one more rinse. And then when it kicks over into dry, we're going to essentially pause the video for a moment because it's just going to sit here for 45 minutes with nothing that you can really see other than the timer counting down. So at that point, we're going to pause the video, and then we'll come back when there's about 30 seconds left on the timer. We'll resume. We'll view the system finishing its dry cycle. We'll view it having its cool down set time before opening the door, and then we'll inspect the rack and the cassettes and products and conclude the video source inspection. So, should be changing, either running one more rinse step or switching over to a dry step any moment now. Okay, there we go. So, sounds like we still have one more rinse step. I thought that might be the case, so this will be our third and final rinse. This ensures after 3 rinses that all of the surfactant that was in the tool is now washed out, preparing it for the drying process. Just going to take a look back around the back of the tool again. Yep, everything looks good back there. I saw the exhaust dampers open, which is going to allow the air to start flowing through the chamber and actually start exhausting. I also saw that the drain opened, so it was letting that water flow out the bottom there, so that's good. Okay, so we're still draining out the reservoir, so we haven't officially clicked over into dry yet. As you can see, the rinse step is still having a flashing icon. And now we are here in dry. So now that we are officially in dry, we're going to have our dry timer initiate, which I just saw it switch over to 0.1 minutes, 0.2 minutes now. That's moving our way up to 45 minutes in total dry for this process run. We're also going to see that this dry water temp will hold at 65 C because that's our temperature set point. And then this drying temp, which is now rising, it's now at 37, 38, that will hit our set point, which I believe is also at 65, maybe 70, and I'll have to verify that. Lastly, I can also hear the air knives inside the system. They've initiated and are operating, so the air knives are separate drying mechanism from this main blower. The air knives will individually rotate and sort of use forced, sort of a specific spray pattern of air to blast the water molecules off of the dryer, off of the substrate. And then this loud exhaust is what's pulling all of the heated air out and really assists with the key evaporating. That leaves a nice, clean, dry product at the end. So we're going to go ahead and pause this now. For us, it'll be 42 minutes. For you, it'll seem like only a few seconds. We'll see you soon. And we're back. Looks like I have my mask on now too, and that's great. We only have a few more seconds before this dry time is done. Our timer's at 44.9 seconds. I'm gonna take that off for the remainder of the video. And now we've just completed, so our timer's down to 0, and now we're blinking on dry. The blinking on dry is the same indicator as the blinking on rinse, which means that process step is quote-unquote complete, but it's finishing up. So, excuse me, in rinse, that means that the reservoir still has to drain out, and in dry, that means that the system still has to cool down. So right now we're in the cool down phase. The cool down is a preset amount of period that should be about 1 to 2 minutes here. You'll see that if you try to open during the cool down period, that the system is still latched. So it's a safety interlock to prevent anyone from burning themselves. The chamber is not really going to necessarily burn you, but the hot metal in there can cause irritation to the skin if it was to touch directly the second that the system's done running. also mentioned the water temperature and the drying temp. So you can see both of them are near 65. That was the set point that we have the system running for. And it's good to see that we got the system hot during the process run and that the DI water is now back up to temperature. I'm feeling the chamber door on the front too. It's definitely hot. Taking a look on the back of the tool, everything still looks good. Our exhaust plenum here is also warm. Okay, so now the cool down period has completed. Here's the complete reset icon, lets you know that the box washer is done. And this also has to be pressed before opening, so we're going to go ahead and recognize. We heard the door latch right there. Now I'll open the chamber. Okay, just reaching inside, I can feel that everything's hot. Grabbing both those metal right there, that was really warm on the skin. You wouldn't want to leave your hand on there. Definitely just pull it out. Okay, but we pull off this first product right here, and it's nice and hot. Everything looks good. It's nice and dry. Same with the lid. Now I move over to the other 8-inch pieces. These guys are clean and dry, ready to be reused. So we had a successful box washer run today. Thank you for taking the time to review our refurbished box washer today. Again, my name is Daniel Mullaney and I filmed this for SciTech Process Solutions. If you'd like to learn more about our products, please visit our website at www.scitekprocess.com. That's SITEK process.com, or give us a call at 916-797-9000, and to reach me directly, dial extension 2201. Happy holidays.